We don't need you anymore. Get out, you freeloading work from home slacker. Those harsh words from my sister, joined by my parents, stung deeply. Get out. I'm sick of a family that treats me and my dog like burdens, they all said. If they were going to be like this, I decided I'd do whatever I wanted. That's when I started planning my revenge. I'm Emily, a 34-year-old single woman who works as a freelance web designer. My job only needs a laptop, so I work from home at my own pace. Even though I have a job that many would envy, my peace was disrupted about 2 years ago when my parents began to invade my space. One day, while I was working from home, my parents showed up unannounced. As soon as they walked in, they started looking around. This house is huge. It seems like we could live here too, my mom said, glancing around. Yeah, there's even a spare room. It's such a waste for Emily to live in such a nice house all by herself. My dad agreed. Let's move in this weekend, my mom decided, ignoring me completely. I was stunned. They were making decisions without asking me. I tried to make it clear that I had no intention of living with them. Wait a minute, I'm not planning to live with you guys. What are you talking about? My father's face turned bright red as he shouted, You took over this house, claiming it from your uncle, and trying to make it yours. This is ridiculous. I didn't take over anything. I had a proper conversation with Uncle, and he gave it to me, I said. Stop making excuses. Our old house is falling apart. Your mother and I are moving in this weekend, he insisted. In reality, this house was a gift from my uncle, who always had a soft spot for me. The title was still in his name, but he told me I could use it however I wanted. According to my father, their old house was too old and needed a major renovation, which they couldn't afford. That's why they decided to move into the house I inherited. I wasn't thrilled about it, but they had already sold their house and claimed they had nowhere else to go. I couldn't just leave them without a place to stay, so I reluctantly agreed to let them move in. From the moment they arrived, my parents started making sarcastic remarks. Emily, you're over 30 now. Don't you have any plans to get married? My mom asked. I'm happy with my work right now, I replied. Well, if you keep talking like that, you'll never get married. Why don't you learn something from your sister? She continued. My sister's married life wasn't exactly going smoothly, but I kept that to myself. Anyway, I'm doing fine for now. That's when my mom interrupted. Don't talk badly about your sister. Unlike you, she's married and has a job at a company. So what if I'm not married? I'm doing a decent job, I said. You're always just playing around on your computer. You must be making money through some shady means, my mom accused. Shady means? I'm making a living with legitimate work. You don't need to worry, I said. How dare you talk back to your mother? You're the complete opposite of your sister, she snapped. My parents constantly compared me to my sister. Yes, she had a job at a company, but it was just a temporary office position. I didn't look down on her, but I earned more than she did. I understood that people from my parents' generation didn't fully grasp working from home, but it was hurtful to be constantly belittled. Then one day, while I was preparing dinner, something my always idolized parents never did, the doorbell rang unexpectedly. To my surprise, it was my sister Emma arriving with a huge amount of luggage. Hi, Emma, what's going on? I asked, confused. It's been a while, Emily. This is sudden, but I'll be living here from now on, she said. I was taken aback. Living here? I didn't hear anything about this. Didn't Mom and Dad tell you? I got divorced, Emma said flatly. I was stunned. Yes, and I'll be relying on you from now on. Emma said, ignoring me as she trudged upstairs and claimed one of the empty rooms. Despite my attempts to resist, my parents sided with Emma, and I was powerless to change the situation. From then on, my stress kept piling up. Emma had quit her job after her divorce and spent her days gossiping about me with our mother. "Hey, Mom, isn't this dress cute?" Emma asked. "Oh yes, Emma, you look so pretty. It will definitely suit you." Mom said, "Do you think so? It's totally not something Emily would wear, right?" Emma said, "Well, Emily is a bit plain. That's why she can't get hired anywhere. All she does is play around online at home," Mom said. "Mom, you can't just say things like that," I protested. "That's my life." Constantly compared to my sister, with my parents always making me feel like I didn't measure up, was exhausting and frustrating. As I was preparing dinner, my family made sure I could hear their conversation. I wanted to lash out, but I knew that would only give them the satisfaction they were looking for. So I chose to remain silent and continued living my life without reacting to their provocations. One day, a friend of mine had a litter of 4 puppies, and I decided to adopt one. I named him Muffin. He's a tiny black chihuahua with the most adorable round eyes. Whenever he looks at me, his tail wags so enthusiastically, it looks like it might fall off. Owning a chihuahua had been a dream of mine since childhood. Working from home can be lonely, so I thought Muffin could provide some much-needed companionship. I was thrilled to bring him into my life. When I brought Muffin home, I didn't consult with my family. After all, this is my house, and I'm covering all of Muffin's expenses. I didn't see why they should have any say in the matter. As expected, my parents and Emma started complaining right away. "Hey, we didn't hear anything about you getting a dog," my mom said. "Dogs are so smelly." "I can't stand bad odors," Emma added. "Emily, how could you just bring a dog home without asking us?" "We don't approve of this," my dad said. I calmly responded, "First of all, I didn't just pick him up off the street. A friend gave him to me. I'm covering all the costs for Muffin, so there shouldn't be an issue. If you have complaints, you're free to leave." At first, they were furious, their faces red with anger. But within a few hours, Muffin's cuteness won them over, and they began to fawn over him. "Aren't you cute? Who's mommy? Who's daddy? Oh, look at you, sweetheart," they cooed. I couldn't believe the sudden shift in their attitude. One moment they were angry, and the next, they were completely charmed by Muffin. From that day on, they were constantly doting on him, which actually reduced their hostility towards me. Life became relatively calm. But one day, this peace was shattered. While I was out running errands, my sister Emma called me in a panic. "Come home right now," she shouted. I asked what was wrong, and she yelled back, "Muffin did his business on my clothes. Now they smell. Just wash them, it will be fine. And isn't it your fault for leaving your clothes on the floor?" I replied, "What? It's my fault? It's your poor training of Muffin that's to blame." Emma retorted, "Enough. Muffin is still a puppy. If you take him for walks, he won't have accidents at home. You said you were excited to walk him today. Did you actually take him out?" I asked. "Well, I was going to take him later. It's all your fault for not teaching him properly. You owe me for the cleaning costs," Emma demanded. When I got home, Emma was still fuming. Both my parents were there, glaring at me alongside her. Emma threw the soiled red clothes at me and started shouting again. "I'm going to charge you for the cleaning costs," she said. "Why should I pay? It's your fault for not taking him for a walk and leaving your clothes on the floor," I said. "Shut up. Don't talk back. It's because of this stupid dog that this happened. What are you going to do about it?" Emma yelled. "Stupid dog? You seemed to like him before." Isn't it harsh to call him that just because of a little accident? I said, it's because of your poor training. Take responsibility. Emma shot back. I was shocked by my family's selfishness. While I was still processing my sister's unreasonable behavior, my parents joined in. Emily, shouldn't you at least apologize to Emma? My mom said. That's right. All of this happened because of Muffin, my dad added. Can't you both just drop it already? Puppies are like babies. They make mistakes sometimes. Can't you forgive him? This situation only happened because of this stupid dog, I said. Emma insisted, Emily, you made the right choice by not getting married. If you had a child, I doubt you'd raise them properly. Emma's comment was a hurtful comparison. How dare you say that? If you had taken Muffin for walks and kept your place tidy, none of this would have happened, I replied. Finally, Emma raised her eyebrow and said, I can't take it anymore. I don't need you or this dumb dog. Get out of this house. What? Didn't you hear me? I said get out. We don't need a homeworking freeloader here, Emma shouted. A homeworking freeloader? How could someone who is currently jobless say such a thing? And who do they think is paying for all the household expenses? It's me. As I stood there stunned by my sister's outrageous demand, my parents chimed in. That's right, Emily. Leave this house. Your presence only makes things worse. You're a jinx. All three of them kept repeating, get out, in front of me. My anger finally erupted. I had reached my limit. If this was how they were going to be, then I'd had enough. I packed my things, and with Muffin by my side, left the house. As I left, my sister added fuel to the fire, saying, this is all your fault. If you had just listened to me, none of this would have happened. They still didn't seem to understand their situation, even though trouble was clearly coming their way. Well, never mind. Let them enjoy themselves in the house. Suppressing a grin, I left with Muffin. A few days later, my sister called me unexpectedly. Emily, help, the house. What happened? Emma's voice was trembling. We've been told we need to leave by the end of this month. I was calm. So what? What's the problem? Why do we have to leave? Emma asked, her voice rising in panic. I've decided to sell the house, I said. Emma seemed to freeze. She stammered, what? You've decided to sell it. You don't have the authority. I do, I replied. The house has been officially mine for months now. Emma's shock was evident. You're kidding, right? Even if Uncle transferred the title to you, you can't just sell it so easily. I explained, I was worried too. But after you told me to leave, I consulted with Uncle. He told me the house is yours now. Emily, do what you want. Get away from that family as soon as possible. I was worried too, but after you told me to leave, I consulted. With Uncle, he told me the house is yours. Now, Emily, do what you want, get away from. That family as soon as possible, no way. Emma said, her voice rising, whether my parents were listening to the conversation on speakerphone or not. They began to make a fuss. Emily, stop this. We have no other place to go if we leave. This house, that's right, it's unthinkable. To do this to your own family, if you're a good daughter, show some respect. My father added. Respect, I asked quietly. You've always looked down on me compared to Emma, who do you think has been supporting you for the past few years? You had nowhere to live, so I reluctantly let you stay with me. My parents were silent, clearly at a loss for words. I continued, my voice firm. You treated me and Muffin like nuisances and kicked us out, trying to be happy by driving out. The original resident is shameless. You people deserve what's coming to you. My father began to beg. Please, Emily, help us. We're sorry, I don't care, I said coldly. Fend for yourselves, you idiots, with that. I hung up the phone with a decisive click and blocked all their contacts. Muffin looked up at me, his little face full of concern. I hugged Muffin close. I'm sorry for shouting, Muffin. It's all right now. I'll protect you. I'm so glad. We're away from that family who treated you so poorly. Later, I heard that my parents and sister were forced to move out of the house at the last minute. Despite their desperate pleas, with my father's small income and my mother and sister both unemployed, they struggled to make ends meet. Rumors said my sister was constantly being nagged by my parents to find a job, and their family relationship was deteriorating daily. Although I'm not interested in their lives, it's clear their standard of living has dropped significantly since I left. It's truly a case of reaping what you said. So as for me, I'm now enjoying a fulfilling life with my beloved dog and a new pet friendly apartment. I can work whenever I want without anyone complaining. My earnings are mine to spend on myself and Muffin, and I'm extremely happy with how things are going now. Muffin let in go to the dog park today, I said. Muffin seemed more lively, perhaps because that noisy family was gone. From now on, I want to protect in for the rest of my life and lead a peaceful, happy life together.